that. Get notifications sent. Get reorganized here.
Okay. Everything should be sent out. I'll check the audio.
My heart.
That sounded like it hurt.
Well, I got it.
Hello, Fate.
Hello. Over here.
Watch out, bearded man.
Oh, gonna need to.
Watch out, indeed. Okay,
Gonna need to. Yeah?
Yeah. I don't know why I put that away, but I'm going to need it to put in the names of the people we're talking about.
All right. I'm going to do that. Let me get back to this page.
But I do have a pre-show topic for you.
Good. We need a pre-show topic.
Yet again, RPG horror stories. It's the never-ending treasure trove of wonder. So...
You're sick! Sick!
So, you need me to say... Ooh-woo.
Don't look at me and say it. What the hell wrong with you?
Ooh-woo. Emotional damage.
Oh, man.
She says it's your turn now, buddy.
Oh, is it? I'm not 100% sure. I kind of know it from, but I don't. Or it's a thing.
I'm gonna use the I don't speak that language. I can't say that word defense.
Yeah, but I don't know. But the character's always like a young little, like big eyes, right?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
Well, I know where it goes. I know where it goes. Okay, I'm not a fool. There's this thing called the internet.
Yep.
What does it mean though exactly? Is it just like
it's just an onomatopoeia of like the cute face, the trying to look adorable. It's the onomatopoeia of that sound that ooh. There you go.
It's out there now.
So you know how in anime, anytime they do anything, they make a sound.
Yeah.
So like even when they're eating, or the.
Yes.
When they turn, that's the I'm trying to look cute sound.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, didn't have that.
So,
well, just don't ask me to stand out on a street corner saying you in Korean. All right, there's limits.
I'm glad
I want you to be happy. I'm just saying.
So, pre-show topic, very different from this. Edgelord comes to the table.
Yeah.
And it happens a lot in TTRPGs. The guy that wants to be the coolest.
Yeah.
And he puts way too much work into it.
I'm the hero.
Yeah. So party was in prison to start things off. And player names his character Malice.
Okay.
And describes himself as having beady red eyes from underneath his helmet. DM immediately says, "You don't have a helmet. I told you everybody's starting without armor.
Yeah.
You're in prison." It's like, well, they couldn't take my helmet off because if they tried, it would have given them a heart attack.
No,
you don't have that.
No, we shouldn't. No.
Nero from Fate. So then
solve for Mew.
Right. Druid has their squirrel companion go try and get the keys. Squirrel companion gets the keys, takes them into the edgelord's cell, and the edgelord kills the squirrel by stomping on it and says, "I'm chaotic neutral." Which, first off, that's not what chaotic neutral does.
No.
They don't just kill a squirrel for no reason.
Right.
So, DM lets that slide. Like, okay, probably should have stopped it there, right?
Yeah.
Lets it slide. As a DM, I probably would be like, "No, you don't. That's their squirrel. You're not." No.
Yeah.
But anyway, they get out of the prison by fighting their way through, and yeah, Henry Moss. They get out of the prison, go to fight. Their very first fight they get into, nobody has any weapons, because they've been in prison.
Yeah.
They're trying to find gear. Malice gets hit by an attack and begins to argue with the DM that, well, I didn't get hit because once I exited the prison, my armor came back to me. And the story keeps going, but I don't need to tell you more of the story, really, because that's the point where it would have been, all right, look, either you can accept that it's not happening,
right,
or you can leave.
Right.
We're not going to sit here and argue about your armor every time.
I realize you want to be cool. Everybody wants you. Yeah.
Came to laugh.
I realize everyone wants to be cool. But, sorry, you're all first level dumbasses. That's, you know.
Yeah.
That's where the story starts.
I'm fully with you. The story shouldn't have kept going, but it did. And it went for way too long before one of the players convinced the guy to leave the actual table. And the guy put out a big thing of, you know, how it's just not right. And he was trying to alpha male push me around. It's like, no, it sounds like nobody wanted you around.
Yeah.
And he convinced you to leave before it became a fight. Like...
Right, exactly.
I don't know, actually. It's a good question.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. That's ridiculous.
But what that leads me to question-wise is, we say this every time, have a session 0 so you can see that this guy's going to be an edgelord and you can curb it right there. And maybe that edgelord will be a great player later.
Yeah.
But if you don't curb it, they're just going to keep trying.
Yeah. No, yeah. You haven't lived through the stories to make you a legitimate edgelord yet.
Yeah.
You know, there's people out there that could probably be that their life story is like, you know what, dude?
Yeah.
Fine. 99.999999998. They become, you know, no.
I will leave you with this though. With before he got kicked out, as a child, before he got kicked out, the party came up with a plan to be able to get their stuff back. You know, and the Malice says that plan's not going to work, and one of the other party members says, "Why?" And he says, "Because I can see the future, and I've seen it won't work." And the DM says, "He can't see the future. That's not a thing." It's like, look, at that point, just call it, man.
Yeah.
Just get him out of there. And don't get me wrong, you can do the, hey, my character thinks he can see the future thing.
Yeah.
That could be a fun character arc.
Yeah.
You know? He wasn't trying to be a fun character.
Now, if you're doing that, it's like, all right, you're going to write me out 12 prophecies.
Yeah.
All right. I want to make sure.
These happen.
No. I want to make sure a couple of them happen at least.
Yeah.
Maybe like for sure the first one, not the second one. If I did the first one, can't be the second one.
Well, Darkness, I mean, he did supposedly have a demon trapped inside him that made him burn down his familial home and kill his whole family. And, you know,
I get it.
The woman that he loved betrayed him and sold him into the prison. And
yeah.
So, look, when you come to a table, you're supposed to be a part of the group. It's not your story. It's everybody's story.
Yes, yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's what I was referring to. I apologize. There's limits on what I will do. I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
Even though what I may be doing is innocent. I'm trying to set some boundaries here.
But that's all I had for you for that topic. It was something that I couldn't let go once I saw it. I was like, we gotta talk about this one.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. So
that's what we need to do is build the perfect edgelord character.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have to give him. I think we'd have to at least start at like 5th level.
Oh yeah.
I want it to be legal, but
yeah.
His backstory's all there. You know, saw his parents killed. Betrayed. His first love's dead.
Yeah.
You know, all the good stuff.
I kind of want to play the opposite of like just a dude that's had the worst hand in life.
Well, see,
he's like, yeah, it's everything bad has already happened to me now. Everything can only get better. And he's just the most positive person in the world.
No, that's the way I'm going to be. Hey, ain't nothing gonna get me down.
For the edgelord, probably big armored in spikes, right? Like you gotta.
Yeah, I think big armored.
No one can touch me.
I'm thinking of the what's that? Oh, what's that game where you play? You play the is it Dungeon Keeper?
Yeah.
Where the heroes come in and you set up traps to kill them. Yeah. Yes, that's how he dresses when he showers in the morning.
You can't touch me because these spikes on my armor represent the spikes in my heart.
Yeah.
It's real easy not to be an edgelord. You just, take 2 steps back from whatever like terrible thing you have, and you're great. Yeah.
You don't understand what it's like to be rich.
They took away my Game Boy.
No, I do not understand what it's like to be rich.
They gave it back moments later, but they still took it away.
On the nose.
But yeah, that's all I had for you today.
Mom said no.
Mom said it was my brother's turn on the Xbox. A hand and eye of Vecna and her whole village and family is killed. Like hitting things, life is fun. Yeah. It's real easy to not be an edgelord.
Yeah. The reason your D&D player starts out with their backstory being a life of crap a lot of times, because when you get finished making your level 1 character, you don't have anything.
Right.
You got a couple gold you can hold on to.
Yep.
You get your armor, maybe, some kind of armor, something to hit things with or shoot it with. And that's about it.
It makes sense.
So yeah, obviously before you started this character, you're not making the greatest decisions in life.
Right.
You're
an adventurer for a reason.
Right. Yeah. I'm going to be a prince who, doesn't have to worry about food or clean water.
That could be a really fun character, though. The fop.
Yeah. It's automatically annoying.
Yeah. But very quickly, he has to change, Mm-hmm. Other one thought she had no family. Oof.
No.
Oof. I think the most fun part of the fop is like, go ahead, set up camp.
Yeah. Now, if you can't give the prince anything to lose if you're going to have that character.
Yeah.
If it's like, no, you're a prince, but hey, look, the darkness is coming from my, Justin Hawkins is going to be about a thing called love. All at it is going to destroy it.
Yeah.
Okay, we can't compete. Then, it's a little bit different.
Because he lost his wallet? Yeah. Look, I don't have anything to my name. I heard this is a good way to make money.
That's the character I want in the group right there. I am Garthulian. I am Aurelian. Hi. My name's Mort.
I'm broke.
Yeah. Y'all need a job?
They said I could get 100 gold a goblin head. That's a lot more money I've ever seen.
Dumb. Well, if it's in character.
You ready to kick this thing off?
We can try.
Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Full Spectrum TTRPG podcast. My name is Trey.
I am Rungren.
Tonight we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, a little bit.
We don't really have any news per se. There's been some more stuff that's come out about the Exemplar. It looks really busted.
Yeah.
There's a reason that it's a rare heritage class, rare class. That's it.
Okay.
So, it's the DM has to approve it for you to use it.
They didn't really make it rare. We need a table.
Yeah.
Like you get to roll on your heritage.
Yeah, that'd be a cool way to do it.
Yeah.
But then if one person got Exemplar and nobody else did, it's like, all right, we're all going to buff that guy.
Well, then he probably deserves a name then.
That's true. Native and undead monster. It's supposed to be our mom. It's taking over the Feywilds. Oh, okay. Well, that's actually really fascinating. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, tonight we're talking about Jewish mythology.
Yeah. Which, okay. We've got a lot. And so what we're basically covering here, looking into it, and there is stuff, there is different aspects out of this. No, no. In fact, I probably should have. That would have probably been a way to do it,
Right.
possibly. But Dad, or like I think I was talking earlier about trying to look at Kabbalah
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But it's really weird because either way, it seems a lot of times when we're talking about the Old Testament,
Right.
and it seems like, especially of course the Torah, the first 5 books, what we call the Old Testament, you know, that's going to be the basis of it, and things go to that. Like Lilith, you know, who's not, definitely not in the Torah. She's not in the Bible. But how they tie into the creation of Adam and Eve and things like that. Right. But Lilith wasn't. Lilith was in some aspects of the and so like I said, we're talking about for the first. Some stories would be the first wife of Adam. Right. Sometimes it should be the second. Like picture that is yeah. Yes. That is ego right there.
Look, if we just pull up Lilith art, we're gonna be in trouble if we're not careful.
Yeah. Well, it's a fascinating character. You know, in the one aspect that she was made exactly like Adam.
Right.
From the dirt. And when you get to medieval, around that time, like European Jewish scholars, you know, they were Jewish.
Right.
They were in Europe. That's around that time is when you see her take on, like, okay, now she's a demon.
Right.
She's an actual demon, not a human.
Dang it, I'm trying to get this where I can see it over the gap there. And as always, we don't mean any disrespect or anything like that.
Well, we've kind of got it broken down into the core of this, and I got so many names, and I don't know. You can't look into a mythology without layers and layers and layers. You know? And this one just again drives it home because for the Torah, the first 5 books of what, you know, I would call the Old Testament or the Old Covenant, are a huge list here. Yeah. To go over, and a lot of these I think from just from the society we have, the way it's structured, I think a lot of these you're going to know. Yeah. Right, you got something to hold on to. Like steering wheel. Right. So a lot of, and of course, I think that also lends to like somehow that it may not be as interesting or boring in some ways. Yeah. And there is some stuff. It's much better than steering wheel. Yes. We've had, yes.
Since we're talking about Lilith, do you think she was the reference for Demona from Gargoyles?
Oh, no.
Because that's a lot of the art that I always see of Lilith is like winged with the red hair and the horns, kind of like this one that's pulled up right here. And the first thing I thought of when I saw that was Demona from Gargoyles. Of course, I guess she's purple.
Okay, but okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, maybe. I mean, her artwork, the Middle Ages, you know, even I think even in the Renaissance period, you know, this is where a lot of the artwork actually comes from. If you start study, like some of the things I'll talk, you know, some of these stories we'll talk about, when you see it done, especially in early times and talked about and described from one's perspective, you'll actually see they have pictures of them that have like them kind of more in a medieval attire. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And through archaeology, things like that, you see them more become more of like, robe, more nomadic style,
Right.
more Hebrew, what you would think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a gargoyle, but there's, because Lilith has become such a like a big thing in and representations of her in like modern media and modern. I'm actually too going back a ways, not just like in the past 20 years
Right.
or so, but going back a ways. And this idea, especially after, like I said, the Middle Ages, when the name is found, which the whole thing about name. I feel like here I'm backtracking because I'm trying to make myself clear.
Yeah.
In most languages in the world, they're either written down, they're either pictorial or they're phonetic,
Right.
like a hieroglyph, or they're sounds. Egyptian, English. Right. The Hebrew writing is very weird because it's both.
Mm-hmm.
And it does. There was a movie Pi. There's a guy that talks about it. Like, you can take the numbers. I don't know if this is actually one, but I've seen it done in a couple other places too. So the word in Hebrew for father and the word for mother.
Right.
Okay. Those symbols have numeric numbers tied to them.
Right.
When you take those numbers, add them together for each one, and write the two new symbols, you get child.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That's cool.
Yeah. So yes, and it's you may think it might be the most boring movie in the world to you for some people. I loved it. On the thing, but it's on black and white. Great movie. I'm trying to remember when it came out.
This is the first time I've heard of it, so
Bunch of losers.
can't help you. I'm sorry.
Not Life of Pi.
See, that
just
was what
Pi.
I thought of was Life
Yeah.
of Pi.
I like Life of Pi as well. Saw that one in the theater.
Because I don't remember that scene in Life of Pi.
No. But Lilith's kind of taken on this aspect. The epitome of that is Diablo 4.
Right.
She is.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's the main protagonist for Diablo 4.
Yeah.
At this point in time.
She's one of the main devils in Digimon as well,
Yeah.
of the Digital Sea. She is Lilithmon.
Well, it has to do. Okay, so that's how the language works. So the word Lilith is actually the way it gets rooted in demon. Actually, it's gonna be rough. It kind of translates as night owl,
Right.
and that was seen as that name describes her demonic lineage through that. Now she's not, and that the only time the name is close mentioned, I think, is in the book of Isaiah. It mentioned once. It's not in the Torah, which have a bunch of names to go over,
Right.
and things and stories that go with them.
If we tried to cover everything, we'd be here for far longer than, just as with everything else, we're taking a scoop.
Well, I got to give you full disclosure on this. I feel like I'm cheating everybody doing mythologies anyway. Not being able to give like the depth and beauty that are found in some of these stories and tales, and these cultures that. Yeah, there's an idea of night owl. There's also it could also, I think, and this is a stretch of one thing where it could mean night. The night's for sure,
Right.
but not owl. But the female chimichanga.
Oh, okay.
So she doesn't
All
say
right.
who often enough. Fair enough. Evidence against that theory. Do that. I can't do that. But and in this one, this will be a light reading too. This is a little bit different because as labels go, I am a straight white Christian male, and that I'm out on all four counts.
Right.
So I don't want to put any bias on it and just what the stories are.
Yeah.
through here, not any kind of theology behind it. Though I think there's going to be some in it when we talk about it anyway.
I'm sure. I'm also going to try and keep my bias. I'm also a firm believer of this mythology.
Yeah.
But it is one that, as I try to do with all of them, I'll try to just look at what's cool and try not to get wrapped up in stuff.
Sorry. I was trying. There was a talk show.
I didn't want to go back on that one because I didn't want to get into the weeds, but I was like, I don't know if that's an okay way to put that.
No, it's probably not. No, it's a
chimichanga.
A night gina is what. There's a reference. There's references for me that nobody in the world gets.
Maybe
didn't watch it.
Maybe
I don't know.
The word we use to get around the YouTube censor is female body part.
Fine. Yeah, so there was a fake talk show back in the day making fun of, like I said back in the day, I'm talking like making fun of Donahue. Okay? The
Doug says, "Oh."
Yeah. The Donahue, and so there was a discussion on stage. It was like Donahue, Jerry Springer type thing. I feel strongly like somebody's going to get those references. Know what I'm talking about. Anyway, the guy was kind of making fun of that. It was a funny show. It didn't last very long. But one of the things, there was a whole thing about, the woman. yes. The woman cheating or whatever. And I think they had a guy that was like supposed to like bleep like manually while listening to the conversations.
Oh boy.
They're overworking when they're talking about that. So so the host was like, let's not call it that. We'll call it chimichangas. Of course the crowd's like through that. And so anywhere,
there's so many other words that could have been
there was, but it stuck with me.
Yeah,
the point.
That's fair.
And it blew up in my face, is what I'm saying. Be careful how media treats you.
Poorly is often how media treats me. Poorly. This is a complete aside, but I got spoiled on a thing for Gundam Witch from Mercury today, and it made me so upset.
Yeah, see?
Got so upset.
Did you?
Media treats me poorly.
Yeah. Be careful what you click.
Yeah. It was my own fault. It was the thing that was like best moment in all of Gundam. And I was like, I've seen Gundam. Click.
Yeah.
Haven't seen all of Gundam.
No, not all of it. One day.
Yep.
One day.
That's my fault. Anyway, I'll stop us down this road before we get further down it, please. I haven't seen the second half of Witch from Mercury. I'm sorry.
No, is it all out now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now he has
time to watch it all.
Now he has no excuse.
That's right.
I knew what he was waiting on, but now he has no excuse.
That's right.
All right. So to go back, we're looking at Torah and stories that come from the Torah. And like I said, a lot of these you probably already know in some form or fashion. I do think be careful. I do think people misread and get a lot of things wrong while reading the Bible and other things. But I'm going to go with my understanding of it. And of course, it starts out, you have one God.
Right. It's monotheistic.
It's monotheistic. Mm-hmm. We've covered a couple that were,
Will sent me a link that might help us tomorrow. That's tomorrow.
Yeah, it's tomorrow. Okay, hold on.
Tomorrow. That's all I'm saying.
All right, we will see. I know it's supposed to happen. You're going to do something. I've been waiting.
Look, I finished chapter 1 of playthrough 3 today before I left to come here. Theoretically, I can finish chapter 3 before the stream tomorrow, and then we can finally do what Dark's been wanting me to do, and once we have all the parts, we can just play through the whole game again on stream, because we should be able to just breeze through that thing.
Yeah, get the whole story in one, bam.
Get the whole story. If not, then we'll be able to do like half and half, probably.
Okay, that's cool. That would be good. Do that. I think you make the heavy arms, man. They got Gatling guns everywhere.
I think I can make the heavy arms.
That's what
I'm excited for that.
I don't know, but that seems like the most plausible one.
And if I can, I will clip it and make it a short so you can watch it without having to watch the whole stream.
Right. Thank you. Okay. What is that? That was, I hadn't said anything, but that was like the one in my mind. I was like, that's it, right?
Yeah.
It's armored core. It's going to be,
Yeah.
not laser blasters that much, right?
There's a
Anyway.
lot of them, though.
So it starts monotheistic.
Yeah.
You will find different names, but the name of God used at this time would be something akin to Yahweh, and they wouldn't write out the name. They're just
Right.
going to put the Y, W.
No, that's a lot of damage.
I don't think so. Unfortunately, I wish. I have yet to find any other fist parts, but it would
Really?
be really cool if I could get one, and then we could make the God Gundam.
You just have Gundams in your arsenal, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't, all right.
I have two right now.
Fine. That's,
Well, mobile suits, not Gundams.
yeah, fair enough. Sorry. Yes.
No, I would love to have some Gundams.
Okay, I got you.
I would.
That's that. That's right. You don't have one. Okay. Back on. Okay. So, another thing, Yahweh, you will find some. The first mention in the beginning, God created the term there is Elohim. I don't know if that counts really so much as a name or title,
Right.
because it means majestic and majestics. It's singular and plural at the same time,
We can try, dog.
and I don't know who
We
did
can
that.
try. Grant them indeed.
Who did that?
No, I think I like it a lot when in the other mythologies we get a name for their main deity. I also think it's really cool when it's just he's
Yeah.
God. You know,
Yeah.
I think that's really cool as well.
Well, I wonder about, like in the we were talking about the Kikyu, how in Dai, right? If that's held on, it's kind of the same thing as like Elohim here. I
Right.
don't know if that's held as that's the name of this being,
Right.
or that's just the word we have,
To call them.
yeah, to call this
Right.
being through that. Either way, I don't
Names
know.
are cool.
And
You should care more about names.
names are yeah. We had to talk about that. True names and the way, names are important.
If you want to bind a Jinn or a Fae to your will,
You got
that's
another
your
true
name. That's the
name.
important thing.
True name. Yeah, which in one of the stories, that gets reflected through between Yahweh and one of their and Moses. Mm-hmm. One of the I guess heroes, legend
Right.
in there.
Yeah, I'd say Moses is a legendary hero.
Legendary hero. I think he kind of fits that bill on that. Where
Time.
they get. Oh no! I thought I was seeing he cussed out or something. And let me tell you something, buddy. No, with Moses, where he tells Moses, God tells Moses' true name.
Yeah.
Right. It was a big deal. Big deal.
Yeah.
It's true names.
It's a
True names
special
had
thing.
powers. And you find in a lot of the mythologies a lot of the name change quite a bit.
Even the stop clocks, right? Twice a day.
All right. If Nightbot was right,
Cut
Nightbot
him
was
a
right.
shred of scrap.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But the name change, like knowing names or changing a name, it seems to happen quite a bit in the Old Testament. One of the probably one of the biggest name changes is a character named Abram,
Yeah.
going from Abram to Abraham. So went
Way
to
cooler name, by the way.
yeah, which converted his name to mean friend of God through that.
More stories. And again, just to clarify, I mean no disrespect to any mythology when I say stories. More stories need to have a character that renames somebody. That's such a cool premise to me. I wish
Yeah.
it was something we could do easily in TTRPGs without, like, you made the decision because
Yeah.
you knew I'd be okay with it,
Yeah.
with the way that my character was going for him to become a paladin.
Right.
And it was cool.
Right. That was a risky choice.
It was.
Yeah.
It could have backfired,
Yeah.
but there was implicit trust between us both.
Yeah.
So it worked. If I'm playing one of your worlds and you have a deity rename my character, I'm with it.
Yeah.
But if I'm
they still
playing with
gotta be
somebody I
careful.
don't trust,
Yeah.
because I know you're going to be careful with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It is good cool thing. And you see it, I think, trying to think of other places I see it, and I see it in like other literature. I don't know that we've come across it in other mythology so much as we're going through. I don't think so.
Don't think so either. Closest would be like Gilgamesh wasn't his original name, was it? He had a different name originally, and he became
I
Gilgamesh.
don't know if that was that his Babylonian name to
Right.
Sumerian name?
That's the other
Or vice
problem.
versa?
Yeah.
Excuse me. But yeah, the idea, but it works. It does come in heavily in a lot of supernatural stuff.
Yeah.
That's today. In Death Note, you got to know the true name to write.
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
there.
If you don't know if you just know
Yeah.
a nickname, it's not good enough.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to have their true name. So I mean, even today, it's still something where there's some precedence for it. Mm-hmm. And like a lot of times we talked about earlier, back in these times, army went in, took a place, took a bunch of people captive,
Yeah.
handing them out to the people. It was like, yep, no, that's not your name anymore. You don't get called that. You are, and you get a new name.
The best way to make them subservient was to steal everything that they were.
Yeah, to take everything from them.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that goes back to, it even goes all the way up to America in
Yeah.
in the 1800s.
Yeah.
It's people are horrible.
Yep.
They're so beautiful and so
Somehow.
horrible
Somehow.
at the same time. What's that? But you've got the story of the first man, Adam, whose name means dirt,
I forgot. I got to start putting these in the chat.
right?
Spirited Away. Yeah.
True name, Spirited Away.
Yeah,
Very good.
very
Good
true.
call. Thank you. That nails on it too, because Adam name basically means dirt, and Eve meaning first. And there is as far as other supernatural beings on Earth at this time, it's the serpent. The serpent's mentioned there.
There's always
Who's
a
that?
serpent.
Yeah, there is always a serpent. That is it.
Yep.
Look, I think the names are intentional. I think the names mean something.
Yeah.
I do. Dirt first, and dirt is not like an insult, but still, it's got its connotation. It's got its meaning for that.
Also, I just want to throw out here, as always, I try to pull up images.
Yeah.
There's a terrifying image here of Eve biting into the apple, but the apple has fangs.
That's a great joke, Dart. Thank you. No, I got this. All right. Name me dirt. Don't do that. But you said there was a terrifying image of Eve?
Throwing this out here, just
Oh, yeah. That's one of the things that people get wrong.
yeah, I agree. But why does it have teeth?
I don't know. For dramatic effect. It's a cool piece of artwork.
I'm sorry, Assassin's Creed. It wasn't an
Yeah.
apple. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, probably deserve it.
I mean, if Chimichanga didn't get us, I don't know what will.
All right, leave me alone. but this story is pretty prevalent even in this culture. Even though you have Adam, Eve, their children, Cain and Abel. The story of Cain killing Abel. Mm-hmm. And it might not be my fault.
I'm just used to it, Dark. If you're here, I don't even get bothered anymore when I get the email that says your video's been age restricted. I'm like, that's probably for the best.
Oh, that's a great Cain. Now there is lots of stuff around Cain, and the Vampire the Masquerade story saying that, and look, there is a lot of horrible stuff that's been done to other people's because people think they know what the mark of Cain is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved in Vampire the Masquerade that idea of that originated vampires. Cain's the first one. They kind of did a play on that. It wasn't vampires so much, but did a twist on that in the TV show Supernatural.
Yeah?
Yeah,
I should watch that shit at some point.
Cain. Supernatural is great when it stays the monster of the week.
Yeah.
When it tries to make it an overarching season, it gets a bit much.
Yeah. I'd rather have you here and the video be age gated than to not have you here and make money. So
Right on.
I don't know what that says about me or you, but
It is what it is. But you have Adam and Eve, you have Cain, Abel. You also have Cain kills Abel, and there's Seth. Now the Cain gets sent to the land of Nod.
yeah.
That's where he marries. Nothing new about me. Fair enough. Cain is married to Nod.
Yeah.
And because if you look at on the sixth day of creation, or sixth age, depending on how you translate it.
Right.
It's when he created man and woman, and then that's when the nations and stuff were created. And then he made Adam and Eve. And there's different things to why there's that mentioned in chapter 1, and then there's chapter 2 is Adam and Eve with the apple and everything.
The land of Nod is a weird thing too, because that has like stuck around in the I know I use this phrase a lot, but in the collective consciousness of mankind.
Yeah.
There are so many songs called Land of Nod. Mm-hmm. So many references made to Nod in video games.
Yeah.
Like
Not exactly. Even
the anime Blood Blockade Battlefront, Kekai Sensen, has a song called The Land of Nod. It has nothing to do with Nod, but it just says, I guess it does in some ways, because it says, that's where I'll go, to the land of Nod.
Yeah. It does. Something that still, it definitely sticks around. Shows its face, nod your head.
Yeah. I think it's got a nice flow to it, honestly. Land of Nod.
Yeah, sounds good. It always helps. Always helps a phrase, so it's got a ring to it.
Yeah.
Going through that. There's also if the fair enough.
It's pretty good, Rebus.
Also there's mystery and stuff about it. Mm-hmm. Now there's Cain is cursed.
Yeah.
7 any man kills him shall be cursed 7 times over. Yeah.
Forgot to pull up Cain.
And then a man named Lamech.
Yeah, his descendant. Maybe. There's stories around that because there's the Old Testament, and you get stuff out of, because I don't know, like the Book of Enoch explains a lot, things that not necessarily biblical, but it explains or has extras to the story, adds in context for some things. Anyway, with that, so you maybe Lamech, but it's got a few here. I don't know. Moses legendary. I guess Joshua. Yeah.
Be legendary hero on that level.
Yeah.
Fighting Jericho and all that.
I think the point is supposed to be that where he goes, he reminds people of what has happened and that death has entered the world for mankind.
Yeah, because death entered the first world. Now, the story in Enoch, because this is one of the things that this was even weirder for me. I've tried to get all the disclosures, but for a rabbi who is looking at this text, and he'll be looking at obviously in Hebrew, written out, spaced like it has been for thousands of years through that, and when he look at it, he's like reading on like 4 different levels at the same time.
Right.
He's reading it, what it says. He's looking for patterns in the writing. It's a process to go through that. And the curse was, I think, or one of the ways of being explained was, okay, now, you're going to go on and you are going to have, you're going to have kids. You're going to have descendants.
Yeah.
You're going to fall in love. And you're going to watch every one of them die. And there's nothing you can do to prevent it.
Right.
Until you're so sick of it, that you beg for death.
Well, and there's another layer to it too, right? Which is you stole a child from your parents. You become a child, or you become a parent and realize what that means.
Yeah.
With your own children, right?
I said that as far as from the what it means is written down, it does have some layers. It does seem a little shallow,
right?
On surface.
Yeah.
Through that. Well, look, I said things wrong. I do. I think people. I don't know. People have trouble with it.
Yeah.
I like I said, I am a Christian. I'm sorry. I'm terrible at it.
We all are. Lucky.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It would have been a big problem. Yeah.
Yeah. He would have. Yeah. That would have been terrible. But he gets killed by, and see, some of it goes into, like, the mythology goes out of it, or the stuff that comes from outside of it into it. Like, okay, so in one version, Lamech kills him. The way Lamech kills him, Lamech is old.
Right.
And his son's out there, but he can still shoot a bow. Mm-hmm. And if he's got the target out there, you know, you tell him what the target is, he's going to hit it.
Yeah.
And Cain, who was his ancestor, was coming back, and was out there with his son, his little son, and the little son didn't know Cain,
Right.
so he just told Lamech something's coming towards him, and he can kind of make out the blur, and he's got his arrow kind of pointed up and everything, and the little boy tells him when to fire. Now, the little boy's never seen Cain, has no idea who Cain is.
Right.
Right. There's a stranger coming up, and he fires. And they go out to sea, and Lamech realizes it's Cain, and he is worried about his curse. And in this version, it's he has succumbed. Now, he doesn't blame the kid at all.
Right.
He does at one time say, oh, if you only had not told me to shoot, I wouldn't have done it. But he's like, the curse is on me. The curse is on me through that. But his was because Cain was his ancestor.
Yeah.
He had killed. It was the same as you killed your father.
Right.
Through that. But there was a lot of different. Just like every other mythology we've gone through, there's lots of different versions of it.
Yeah.
And got a little twists and shades on it.
Well, I don't think it's that he's immortal as in he can't die. I think it's that he's undying.
Yeah.
As in he just doesn't die with age.
So
But I don't. It's just
Yeah, it's hard to say. Okay, so the first and I'll tell you why. Okay, so in the beginning of the Bible, it says, "In the beginning, God created." That's a translation. That's what they put the King James. It's not. It's a solid translation for English. What it says in Hebrew is Bereshit Elohim bara. Now, if you studied that, Bereshit maybe shouldn't be in the beginning.
Right.
It may be closer to like when this started. Elohim is hard for me to understand. Like I said, it's singular and plural at the same time. Bara is a weird word because we say create. Well, it's more than that because I can create something, but I can't bara anything. So it was create as only Elohim can.
Right.
So it'd be a much longer translation, much bulkier. It'd be like, so when this started, the gods, all the same, you'd have to say that at the same time.
Right.
Or at the same time, magically or created as only as they could.
Right.
The heavens and the earth.
Yeah.
It kind of puts them on there. And when you look into the writing, the style of writing, what the letters of the word add up to,
right,
can affect. And there's lots of words in here. And in just the Torah, I've got a Bible beside me. I got the NRSV because of how the Old Testament was translated in this one.
But it's English is bad when it comes to translating everything, unfortunately.
It is. It is. And well, also there's translating anything is tough.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the toughest poems, or seen as one of the toughest poems to translate into different languages for the longest time, was the Jabberwocky.
Yeah.
Galoo-galay.
That's where you were going.
Galoo-galay, things like that. Because that only works with English sounds.
Mm-hmm.
There's...
yeah, probably.
Yeah, and that goes back to, like, pre-archaeology, like the Renaissance age.
Yeah.
People painted the people they saw.
Yeah.
And they put them in clothes, and that's not what it was.
Yeah.
Jesus lived in a really hot area.
Right.
He was dark.
Yeah.
With that.
Also, I don't mean to derail us too much.
Yeah.
But every time we bring up something in mythology where there's a reference later on to other stuff that we have today, I like to bring it up. In the SCP universe, they have Cain and Abel.
Okay.
And both are still alive. Well, Abel's dead, but constantly comes back.
Okay, you know where? Okay.
I don't know where that comes from. I was hoping you'd have
Neil
a reference
Gaiman's
for
The
me.
Sandman.
Okay.
Cain and Abel, who are not Cain and Abel. They are the literature, like the literature Cain and Abel. There's a story Cain and Abel.
Yeah.
They're not actually Cain and Abel.
Right.
And Abel.
The concept giving life.
Cain loves his brother, but he's always killing him.
Yeah.
Always killing. He gets mad and he kills him. He's like, all right, I'll see you tomorrow. And his body's over there all twisted up and everything. And he walks back off. I've heard that before, but does I put that in the SCP?
So in the SCP universe,
Those are terrifying.
They are terrifying. It is the actual people, because God exists in the SCP universe. He
Okay.
is an SCP-343,
Okay.
which is the numerical version of Elohim. Yeah. You caught it immediately.
Yeah.
But Cain and Abel is locked within the earth that his blood spilled on when Cain killed him.
Yeah.
And every day at 2:00, he bursts free of the rock and kills anything around him because he's furious that Cain killed him.
Oh.
Cain is the only thing that can stop him because Cain can't die.
Okay.
And so Cain is brought in every day at 2:00 to go fight his brother again and be forced to kill him because otherwise Abel will kill everything. And Cain hates his life.
Fair enough.
But he feels like it's his duty. He has to do this because he killed him first.
Well, fine enough.
It's a really cool way to do that, I think, but it's not new, right?
No.
But
yeah, it's still cool.
I like that idea a lot of him just bursting free of the earth.
It's got a nice little twist on it.
And my favorite detail of it is he doesn't come out with a weapon. He grabs whatever's close to hand, which normally is just a rock, which in the story is, according to the SCP universe telling of it, is what Cain used to kill him.
Yeah.
Was a rock, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's really interesting to me that he picks up
Yeah.
the same weapon his brother used to kill him to
Yeah.
go try and kill him.
Well, and a lot of I don't know what the flannelgram Christianity.
Right.
That's just the I know the stories, and somebody told me they were correct, and not
Yeah.
bothering to write it.
Never actually read it myself.
It's a Sunday school
Yeah.
story when you kind of dumb down the tales, like Jonah and the whale, something like that. You don't fill out the tale; they tell a nice little story.
Right.
And going through that, some of
Yeah, it's a good SCP.
that SCP. Okay,
There's
y'all
a-
know way more SCP than I do.
There's a moment where they have to pull Cain away because there is a Keter level existence that's when it will wipe out all of the multiverse, right? And so they need Cain to go try and stop it. Abel's still going to wake up at 2:00, so they install miniguns in the room to try and pulp him as soon as he comes free. Loses his legs almost immediately and crawls under the miniguns and starts ripping them apart with his bare hands before they have to send in the undying lizard to stop Abel, and then they can't get the undying lizard back in his containment. I love SCP. Well, at some point in the future we need to do a mythology episode on the SCP universe.
I'll let you handle that, okay?
Love SCP.
Start at one. I don't even know where to go.
Yeah, sorry.
From there.
We covered Cain and Abel.
Okay, and you've got a few other Moses and Abraham are probably the next two big. If we're sticking to the Torah.
Yeah, and you mentioned Joshua. I'd say Joshua is also a legendary hero.
Oh, it's gonna. If there's
love that.
enough of an event, and the information is stored, that's somehow, like they managed to get an old computer with some boot disks on it, something up way in the future after a cataclysmic event.
Yeah,
that could definitely be like, this is how the old world was.
Yeah, 100%.
Would be kind of terrifying fun.
He's still out there somewhere. He's gonna wake up at 2.
When you actually look at what biblical angels are, now there's described and what they do, like in Ezekiel and things like that. They are fascinating.
I love them.
They're nothing like the medieval.
The wheels.
The wheels, the wings, the eyeballs.
Yeah.
Yeah. The cubes, it's a lot.
Look, I'm sorry. I know a lot of people get comfort out of the idea of the winged, white-robed person that's close to hand. I think it's way cooler the idea that there's those wheels rolling around in reality.
Well, they don't. There's a lot. Okay, you don't get an explanation of what the angel looks like when it shows up, right?
Yeah.
But like when they show up, whoever's there, they fall down and start like begging and worshiping.
Yeah.
So the first thing the angel has to say is, "Hey, chill out."
Calm down.
Yeah, calm down with that. So they must be
cool,
right? I mean, if I see a winged figure, it'd still probably kill me, but it's going to be interesting,
right?
But that's not. Yeah, that's not what's.
Yeah,
that's not what they saw.
No, no,
that's not what they saw. They saw something terrifying. Do that.
Wings over the eyes, wings over the feet, 2 wings flying. Heck yeah.
Now, in the early part of there's quite a few stories. There's a couple of books of the Old Testament there in the Torah that are like an accounting.
Yeah.
Numbers, by the way, is about the number of people.
Yeah. Go figure.
Yeah. Exodus is that story is it's a full book.
Yeah.
Of Exodus, of the people coming out, the pillar of fire.
Yeah.
Pillar of fire. March before them, the parting of the Red Sea is in that mythology. That's another thing. Go on, Dart.
Have fun, Dart. Enjoy your podcast. I think
Absolutely.
You don't have a podcast on Thursdays, do you? Do you? Am I wrong? Whatever you're doing, enjoy it.
Absolutely. I was going to that. But that's another one, like that story alone, start looking into it. Okay,
You do. Okay, that's what I thought, but then I questioned myself for some reason.
Right on.
Never double guess yourself. Always go with your gut. You're probably wrong, but at least then you don't look like an idiot.
Maybe. I think there's some flaw in the logic there, but I'm not sure.
All of my logic is flawed.
I'm not sure.
Please continue.
Or was I? Sorry. My brain's going all
We were talking
over
about
the place.
Exodus.
Exodus.
Pillar of
yeah.
fire, pillar of
Going through
cloud.
that. So, like, you have the plagues in Exodus they're lined out. We've got a pretty good
Yeah.
idea of how that story's set up,
Yeah.
right? Through here. Then again, there's another layer to that where we'll know actually each plague represented a god of Egypt, and they line up.
Yeah.
So there's stuff that obviously they would have known when this was written down, after events and everything when they wrote it down, and cultural aspects that they understood that I just don't get without having to read three other articles.
Right. Which also, by the way, is probably true for most of the other mythology we covered too.
Oh, it is.
Where we only got the surface level of some stuff. Runger did a lot of research so that we could get more levels. But just as a reminder, there's always deeper you could delve.
Yeah, there always seems to be more. It's just with this one, I know a lot of it.
Yeah.
And where it comes from, and when I was looking it up, that's what it was referencing. Like the mysticism comes from this, from the Kabbalah, and all these different ideas of what this means, means and how it's.
Well, even the not to dig too deep, but even the way the altar is set up for the horns of the altar and the horn of salvation, and how those words are the same in Hebrew, because that's the point. Is you can throw yourself upon that horn, wrap yourself around it, and nobody's supposed to be able to touch you.
Right.
And it's
right.
Really cool little things like that. That if I was running a TTRPG campaign, I don't mean to keep cutting you off.
No, it's
I was
fine
running
this is like I said. This I feel pretty strongly. I can have a good discussion. About this, right? And even at this, just sitting level, I feel strongly. I can have a good debate with anybody. Over different aspects of this, and some stuff I won't be able to. I don't know. But
I can guess why God made it where Cain got to live after he killed his brother.
But
it's the best I got is guesses.
Speculation. There's lots of stuff, but there's so more. There's more. Cause we have it. We got to talk about Nimrod.
Yeah.
Now Nimrod mentioned once.
Yeah.
In the Old Testament, a mighty hunter before the Lord, which means that he was actually against Yahweh.
Right.
Through that, but outside biblical sources, he's credited with the Tower of Babel.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
What was he hunting, Chad? I think it was the lizard people.
It was a lizard. Now he is a lizard person.
Yeah, probably.
Because he's one of the Nephilim.
So we have to get into that. You can't just say that.
Well,
that's a big mythology thing.
He's the first one I can think of that's named.
We have to get into that.
Okay, so as the earth, as humanity was young, we were going through there, and Nephilim are a little bit different as they're shown in Diablo.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Through that, but the Nephilim. So, depending on the mythology, I'm going to go with one, and you can find others if you're interested. But there was 3 levels of angels. You had the cherubim, the seraphim. No, the cherubim, the seraphim, and the teraphim. Mm-hmm. And the teraphim had the most, and they were the ones that were that dealt with the earthly things. That would be the spiritual connection to earth and everything. Anyway, they started having children with human men. Right. And it came giving birth or rise to a mix of both divine and mundane. Right. right? This being that was a mix of both, and they came on as the story goes, it's to be the men of renown.
Right.
And I think there's another adjective they put for them, but basically, these were badasses.
Yeah.
Later on, the stories that are not in the Torah, but in the Old Covenant, like David fighting Goliath.
Yeah.
Goliath and his 7 brothers.
Yeah.
Were like the last of the Nephilim, or they were real low.
Right.
But they were all giants. Which
Giants.
The new there is giants. There is giants, just like everywhere else you find.
Yeah.
A couple of them are named. Nimrod was seen as a giant. Now Nephilim is translated in the New Living Translation, the NLT, which would also be known as its previous version as the book.
Right.
They translate Nephilim as giants, and I know giants are supposedly Nephilim, but I don't think Nephilim have to be giants.
Right. It's a case of it can be, but it doesn't. It's
Yeah.
all of us are people. Only some of us are in this room.
Right. Yeah. Not through that.
Thank you for being in this room with us, chat.
Yeah. Right. But there's a lot. You find lots of stories of coming out from that and going down and extra outside of the Bible. You get lots of names.
There's the Seraphim Gundam. That's true. We're going to get to that.
Seraphim.
Not there
nice.
yet. We're going to get there.
Seraphim. Yeah, boy, telling you.
I like the Nephilim a lot. I think there are a lot of stories that use Nephilim. Blood Rain, she's a Nephilim.
Yeah.
That's one of the ways that she has her abilities. You already mentioned Diablo. The Nephilim are the main characters there. They're special set aside, If I was to run this in Pathfinder, I would probably use the new exemplars, right? A Nephilim are exemplars. Touched by the power of divinity, and it's in their blood.
Yeah.
Or an Asimar from D&D. That's
Hurry
what originally
up,
it was supposed
Rundgren.
to be.
We will get there.
They were originally supposed to be, people of a divine heritage.
Yes. Yeah. Go through that, and so I don't know. There's no limit. There's no like this is the number of Nephilim.
Right.
And in one tale of Noah's Ark, that's the reason the world gets flooded, because Noah and his family are the only humans left that aren't Nephilim.
Right.
That don't have teraphim blood, and so they get pulled out and saved. And of course, some that's aliens that take them, hide them.
Hold on.
And then put it back. Aliens. Right on. Go through that. But there's a couple of stories about why that happens.
Yeah.
And Noah's in there. And we have, we haven't had another story on the rainbow since the Aztecs, really.
Right.
With the rainbow serpent. And, of course, in Noah's Ark.
Right.
Through there, you have the rainbow.
The bow of God.
Yeah, and in that story, that is the sign of the promise.
Yeah.
That was made that, all right, I'm not flooding the earth again.
Right.
Now, as far as I understand it, that was the limits on that promise.
Yeah, just no flood this time.
Yeah. So like fire's an option? Is this?
That's what it seems like. Also, just throwing this out here. Oftentimes people interpret the rainbow as like a bow that you put in your hair when it says the bow of God. What if instead it means the bow like a weapon? And if God was using a rainbow as a bow, what was he fighting with that rainbow?
I don't know.
Aliens.
Aliens, yes.
All cacti are succulents, not all succulents are cacti. Yeah, exactly.
There you
That's
go.
a much better example.
Something along those lines will fit through there.
We're doing good on time.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't know how to spread too much out of this, where it's going beyond what was the core.
Well, it's also like
earliest.
When we look at other mythologies, we don't know those from go, right?
Right.
So when we look at them, you gather a list as you go and try to order them in the pantheon.
Yeah.
There's no pantheon here.
Yeah.
And it's one continuous story.
Yeah.
So it's hard to jump around, really. Or it's hard not to jump around, depending.
Because you get there seems to be a lot of stories about the birth of nations, right? You get of course, Cain makes his own nation. Seth, the third child of Adam and Eve, goes off and makes his own. I think Seth, he has his own genealogy.
Yeah.
You can read in the Old Testament. And
Fascinating genealogies in my mind too.
And then stuff breaks down. You got Isaac and Esau.
Jacob and Esau.
Jacob and Esau.
The children of Isaac.
Children of Isaac. It was Isaac and Ishmael. Mm-hmm. The children of Abraham.
Right.
Who's Abraham's children, Isaac and Ishmael. They both go off to create their own kingdom.
Yeah.
And then Isaac has the two.
Mm-hmm. Jacob and Esau.
And Jacob and Esau, who both go off to have their own kingdom.
Yeah.
And then Jacob, who has 12 sons.
Yeah.
That form 12 different. This is 12 tribes of Israel.
Right.
12 different tribes in the nation of Israel. Through that, with the 11th son being the one set apart.
Yeah, Joshua.
Yeah.
And instead of it being him as the head of the tribe, it's his two kids. Both get to be head of a tribe,
Right.
and Levi gets taken out of the 12. A lot of people get confused on that and go, well, is there 13 then? It's like, well, no, technically Levi's still one of the 12 tribes, but he's not a 12 tribe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. And there's another thing. We can have it, No, that tribe's in Ethiopia.
Right.
There's a belief held in Ethiopia. There's one in Kenya, too.
Yeah. Which is really cool to me.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realize before we started covering this today, we've always had, hey, everybody's got a flood myth. Everybody's got, like, dragons or serpents or giants or mermaids, I didn't realize that other cultures also had, no, we're that tribe from Israel.
Yeah.
That's cool to me.
Yeah. Going through.
It makes me think a lot of, like, the Rus Vikings, right? Of, we're still Vikings. We live in Russia. We're still Vikings.
Yes, the Technicolor Dreamcoat. Yes. It's magical cloak. Magical cloak. It wasn't magical, but it was very beautiful, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It was.
Until it wasn't.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, come on. His dad was kind of setting him up on that.
Yeah. I'm just saying, look, you got 12 kids, 11 at the time. Well, 12, I guess, if you count the daughter. You got all these kids, and you're going to give one of them a gift.
Yeah.
And not expect the others to get mad?
Yeah. But I find it interesting
Jacob.
going back and trying to take a step back and look at this. You get the same. You got giants through there, right? You got your heroes.
Yeah.
You got Joshua's he is your badass. He's got the sword, the bow. Mm-hmm. He's making statements and he's chewing bubble gum and kicking butt.
Yeah.
And he's all out of bubble gum through that. So we've got all these stories, and even when you get a little bit further on, like when you start looking at, like, there's the book of Ruth.
Yeah.
Right? That's a love story.
It's a love story. It's a good one too.
Yeah, that's your basic love story. It shares a lot of the similarities with love stories that we've told from around the world, right?
Yeah.
The
Book of Esther, the girl that's got to stand up for her people.
Yeah, Esther. Yeah. She's Esther's pretty cool.
If we're going to talk about heroes, though, can we talk about the mighty men? David's mighty men.
Yeah, they can move on. That's definitely outside.
Yeah, it's well past where we normally talk. Where we plan on.
You're moving up just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the mighty men because there's just a couple chapters where it goes, yeah, so David's pretty cool. Here's his, like, elite captains.
Yeah.
And it goes down the whole list. And then because they knew that years later you'd be reading that and not know who those people are, they went, let me tell you what each of them did. And you get a little thing of, like, yeah, this guy fought a whole army standing in a thing of thorns, and he knew they wouldn't come fight him while he was in the thorns.
I love that little section in there. It's very much Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
Yeah, it really is.
It is where you have, this person stood, it said, my favorite.
This guy killed a giant.
Yeah, my favorite is Benaiah.
Yeah.
It's just the way it put it in a pit in a snowy day.
Yep.
Killed a lion with his bare hands.
Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada.
It's just a weird. I don't know. That's a weird. Wait. Is that the musician? There's another Benaiah later.
Yeah.
That's
Benaiah, son of Baruch, is who you're thinking of.
Okay. All right. Yeah, Benaiah went down there, but that thing is always very much like there's those stories there.
Also, there's a mention in there of killing a man with a lion-like face. In that chapter, It's not Benaiah, it's a different guy. I think it's Eleazar, the son of Dodo, maybe. But it's like, what? What is that? Did he kill a demon?
I don't know. There's some. I don't know. There's some strange things that I was like, look, I need more background information.
I'd love that. Just a little bit more.
One of them is like the Archangel Michael telling a prophet is like, look, I would have been here sooner.
Yep.
But I was in a fight with the
prince of this kingdom.
Yeah, the prince of this kingdom. The guy was just like,
no, Judge, that's fair. I mean, you know what? It could have been.
Might have been. It's Ron Perlman's ancestors. I don't know. I do think it, and I find it kind of unfortunate that a lot of these stories are kind of wild.
Yeah. And we don't get a lot.
No, and they go, but I mean, just like the whole thing, it's like, well, no, it's not. Now let's read the Bible. You know, it's like, no, these were stories told by people.
Yeah,
they told them to their kids. You know, this is how a culture was built.
Yeah,
and an idea. It goes. These were the, you know, people got excited.
Yeah,
you know, hearing about, you know, some of the exploits of the heroes. Joshua is, you know, he's Joshua,
the guy.
Look, Joshua's a general. If you go to West Point, at least like it was like 10 years ago or something, he's going to be one of the generals, one of the military leaders that they look back at.
Yeah.
As you know, there's not a lot to go there, but they do give like, hey, there's some stuff in here,
right,
to look at, and people stuff you don't get to just on a glance read through, like how he positioned himself to fight and things like that. Small thing, you know, just the way you're going to look at Hannibal, the Carthaginian. Yeah. You know, and Caesar and others, Alexander, Manu Masi.
Yeah.
Some people that were like really good at getting like expanding their land. Good
yeah.
Lord. Ugh.
Trying really hard not to just jump in with more chat, but like there's also the little stories, you know, that we find in all the other mythologies of like Gideon, who has to choose not to be afraid and to go burn down the grove.
Yeah.
Because it's the right thing to do, even though he knows what it's going to do to everybody. And once he's made his choice, he's set on that choice. It's, did you do this? Yeah.
Yeah. The Gideon story is kind of interesting because, you know, he tricks the Hittites.
Is it the Hittites or the Philistines? I'll double check.
It might be the Philistines.
Here.
Yeah, please double check. But the opposing enemy, he tricks them because of the way the land is. He can get people hollering. It sounds like they got a lot more people than they do. He gets them all to surrender, kind of tricks them. In World War II, there was a captain in the British Army who was doing his Bible study.
The Midianites.
The Midianites. Okay, I was wrong.
I was off too.
Yeah, we're both wrong. Okay. Clive Barker's Nightbreed, Midianites.
I want a Technicolor Dreamcoat.
I think it'd be kind of interesting.
Don't blame me.
I think it'd be kind of cool. But he was reading studying on Gideon, realized that this war had put him in this part of this world where the story's happening.
Right.
Turns out, with a little scouting exploration, the Germans are camped where the Midianites would have been. He goes over with a small group, surrounds them, and with a much smaller group, gets a much larger army to surrender. Yeah. You know, just by reading old myth, he knew that, okay, something in this is true. I'm going to go check. Right. You know,
if you see him in that spot, how can you not?
Well, yeah.
It worked before.
I cannot remember the captain's name. I was a captain in the British Army, World War II. And I don't remember his name.
I had to look up the name, too, when you were talking about Ron Perlman, because my brain was like, no, the man with the lion-like face, it's this guy's ancestors. And it finally clicked. It's Gary Busey.
God bless Gary Busey.
No, I know we have kind of jumped around a little bit, but again, it's hard not to because there's so many cool stories.
Well, it's hard. Like I said, I think a lot of it gets read wrong.
Yeah,
and I like the big one to prove my point. All right, if you know the story, and I ask you who committed the first sin, I find that everybody's answer is Eve.
Right,
and if you read it, that's not correct.
Right.
All right, because nothing. Eve eats the apple, nothing, or fruit. It's not an apple.
I'm sorry, Assassin's Creed. It's
Yeah,
not an apple.
It's not a rib.
It's not a rib.
He's not quite pulled in half. Anyway, but Adam, that's when things change. When Adam bites the apple, he was the one that's been told do that. And it kind of gets read wrong. Mm-hmm. I know that I don't know. Maybe that's pretty obvious, but it doesn't seem like it for a lot of people when argue.
No, it sure doesn't. It seems like a lot of people say, "Well, if he just dumped Eve, then." Like, no,
well, it's like weird when you point out to somebody, it's like, okay, this part right here when he's talking about hovering over the water, over the unformed earth,
right?
That tone, that statement there, that's what the statement you would use if you looked at a mother hen
right
over her eggs.
Yeah,
and it's used a couple times in there. And of course, pneuma is Holy Spirit is feminine, and I'm sure if the wrong people hear this, they're going to throw a fit.
Yeah,
and the pneuma's feminine. The Holy Spirit's feminine. I don't know.
It takes so little to trigger people when it comes to it.
It does. I still want to be still trying to be respectful.
I agree.
Like I said, that this and a lot of this is my belief. So I'm talking to people who say that that they believe like I do, and I'm like, nah, maybe not.
They won't at least listen when we talk about it.
We'll do that. But I pulled up, and this is how bad I am. So I pulled up a list of Genesis characters, and like the mythology, and so many of them are just mentioned and gone.
Yeah.
Like there's Enoch. Enoch never died.
Right.
Enoch walked with God and then wasn't.
Yep.
Maybe he did die. Maybe that's the way that comes out.
Yeah, maybe he was not in the sense that he no longer existed. Maybe he was not in the sense that he didn't need to be on the earth anymore. Maybe God sent him to another dimension. We just don't know.
Another love tale, another love story. And it's a weird love story. Is Rebecca, Jacob.
Yeah.
Because he marries her sister first.
Yeah, Jacob, Leah, and
Rebecca. Rachel.
Rebecca's Isaac's mom. Isaac's wife, not mom.
Oh.
Ooh.
Sorry, man. I'm getting all these backed up.
No, you're good.
That's a love story because he has to marry the sister first.
Yeah, he marries the sister first, and at first they're not happy.
Yeah.
And then she has children, thinking that it'll fix the problem. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Because then he still wants to marry the woman he wanted to marry to begin with. He winds up marrying her. Leah gets upset because she's like, hey, my children weren't good enough. Here's my handmaid. Marry her.
Which, like, his great-grandfather set precedents.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, actually, his great-grandmother, I don't know. Yeah.
It's still true, though.
Yeah.
And so then had kids from the handmaid, who, I just want to clarify again, when people are like, man, they were so backwards in the way they treated women. We're seeing from, in that story, they were just handmaids, but he raised them up to wife status. They got to sit at the table later on.
We were so, what? Oh, they got to sit at the table?
I'm saying that's progressive. They didn't have to go to the slave table to eat.
No, there was, oh man, you just stop.
Welcome back, Will. What a time to come back.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
That is constant, if that makes Yeah. And there's a lot of mythology, whether it is the god or goddess or deity or spirit is seen as a he or her, which is a way that deal with like rebirth.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the fruit and agriculture going to the ground, if it dying, like a lot of them, it's like they die and then they come back.
Yeah,
that's a cycle of life for, where us and animals are a little bit different than that because we die. In a lot of places we don't come back.
Right. Also, just to mention, Jacob does eventually wind up loving Leah. It's not that he just hates her forever, because she gets to be buried with him, and the other wives don't. So,
in a lot of cultures, when we're digging in the old one, the love stories stand out because people don't marry for love.
Right.
They're
married for money or for alliances.
A business proposition. It was good for the community.
Yeah.
I did that.
She was dead when they buried her, and thankfully. But no, she winds up, it's weird because Rachel doesn't wind up getting buried with him. Rachel gets buried where she's at when she dies.
Yeah.
And then Leah winds up getting buried with him.
Yeah.
So, hey, I'm not trying to say she won or anything, but in a shipping war.
Yeah. Don't do that. We've got some other stories too that we have, obviously a lot.
Yeah.
And his wife being turned to a pillar of salt. Mm-hmm. And I find that story in some way. That sounds absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go offbeat and really talk about something that I'm not an expert on, but I kind of understand the way it goes and see if I can't put a twist on that. Though that statement is hilarious. So the marriage ceremony that they would be going through, right? So a father and his son had to come to where the woman was, the daughter of this other man that the son wanted to marry. And in a lot of cases, this was like they knew that the girl and the boy were making eyes at each other. Because there was a night and a time where the man and the son came over and knocked on the door, and they would either answer it or not.
Oof.
Well, people are people. The Scythians killed their horses and put them through poles standing upright so they could be buried on their horse.
Yep.
They had to dig deep graves, okay?
I'm sure.
Throw me off with that. But no, it was the woman's choice. She would nod or say no. And if she nodded, the man and the someone would come in. They come down the table. Now, there's a few things that happen. There would be somebody there. They're another witness. And they would take down stories and stuff of the groom's family, and they take stories and stuff down to the bride's family. They get that all down. They write that. They would kind of have stories about interactions of the two families next. Then they would come down, and you were expected. This was a drag-out fight. This was an argument. This was not a debate. You argued over why your son should get to marry my daughter, and why your daughter should get to marry my son. And this came down to arguing over dowries, things like that. Of why, and there were rules written down and set that set up the marriage. Now, at the end of this, they're married.
Right.
I do believe a divorce would have had to be done from this point. At that point, the man and his son leave. The son has to go back to his father's house. Now he's got to build onto his father's house. He's required 1 year to build a room, a house, something extra to come back and get his wife. And then he can take her. But he's got to be set up. He's got to have his house before he can marry her and take her home. He's got to be set and done through that. It's strange because there is things about it. It's like, yeah. It's making you think ding dong. Ooh. There is things that like just, yeah, that's pretty horrible.
Yeah.
And there's other stuff where it's like, well, there's something kind of honorable in that, Well,
and I want to mention real quick for Zilpah and Bilhah, the two handmaids that get raised up to become Jacob's wives. It was not common in those days for your secondary or third, fourth wife, whatever, to get to be in charge of anything at the house. They would all answer to the first wife. Yeah. But by the time that Jacob's children are able to go out to the field, we see that Zilpah and Bilhah are running the table. They're running the household chores. They went from being just maidservants to they're just as important to him as his other wives, which is not how that's done normally. Yeah. So good job, Jacob.
Good job for the ladies there.
Yeah.
I'll prove my word.
They convinced him.
Wow. Go through that. There's lots and lots of names. We're still doing good. There's Esau.
Yeah.
He didn't get chosen, so to speak, I guess. The first, this is where red hair comes from.
Yeah. That's the first mention of it I know of.
In the Bible, is red hair. He's redheaded.
And all over his body.
Yes. All
across. When he was a man, it was curly on his arms.
Yeah. Very hairy, redheaded guy. Apparently really good at hunting.
Bigfoot.
That's where Bigfoot is. It's Esau. What's funny is there's so in I want to say southern Afghanistan, there is a story that comes out of there. It involves the U.S. military coming upon a cave, and involves, I think, a small platoon, so maybe 12 people.
Okay.
No. I take that back. It's a squad. Was that 6 to 8 people, I think?
Something like that.
It was a squad. They separated off from platoon as a squad, go out and come to a cave, and they get in a fight with a giant.
Oh.
The giant throws a spear through one of the Marines.
Yeah.
Or the soldiers. I can't remember which branch it was. It was either Marines or Army.
Right.
The soldiers throws another one. They do take it down, but it had blue skin. It was red-haired. It was, I think 10 to 12 feet tall, but it had 6 fingers and 6 toes on each appendage.
Oh.
Yeah. And that's the story. That story's not that old. Like I said, it's from
Came from Magartha.
maybe so.
That's where the giants went.
You think that's the picture perfect Aryan right there, blue with red hair?
Look, I'm not saying that you know who was right about who lived in Agartha.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But it's the Aryans that are supposed to live in Agartha. And they might be blue with red hair for all I know.
Could be.
With 6 fingers and 6 toes.
They actually meant to call them the Harians.
Yeah, really? Well, maybe so. What that? But then I realized that was just a distraction.
I'm sorry. Sometimes I tell a joke, and I shouldn't laugh at my own jokes ever. But sometimes when I tell a joke, it really gets me.
Okay, I got a couple other.
Please continue.
A couple other figures. We're talking about giants.
Yeah.
And there's Gog and Magog.
Mm-hmm.
And these are wild to try to nail down as of what they are.
Yeah.
Because Gog and Magog come up in both later Hebraic prophecy and Christian prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
And the book of Revelation. Gog and Magog, man. But through here, they're giants.
Yeah.
On, do I have Gog up? Where'd Gog go? Probably under the G.
Probably.
What's that? No, it's not.
Huh. They just have Magog up there, huh? Or Magog.
Magog, I don't know. But supposedly a giant is a second of the 7 sons of Japheth mentioned in the Table of Nations in Genesis 10.
Okay.
Well, so for the apocalyptic or prophetic,
right?
He's mentioned in Ezekiel.
Gog and Magog.
Yeah, from the land of Gog, which could possibly mean from the north.
Yeah.
Which, if I'm looking at where Israel is, there's a lot up there.
Right. Also, just to throw out, they mention in there, 'cause I can read this as well.
Yeah.
They mention in there Gaius, which is another word for giant.
Yeah, okay. So land of giants,
yeah.
That. Gog of the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal.
Okay.
Gog and Magog. Okay. I don't know. Let me take it through. Like I said, there's probably 4 different lines of meaning for that.
Right.
For that sentence. So
yeah.
I'm going through. I mentioned Enoch is kind of an interesting character because he's in a list of so-and-so lived this many years and died. Lived this many years and died.
Well, Enoch's special too because his son is Methuselah.
Yeah, Methuselah, who's old as Methuselah. Nobody's old as Methuselah.
Right.
Who doesn't make 1,000 years.
969.
Yeah.
He got real close.
969. And from the way that Hebrew is written down, I've always had a wonder about those numbers.
Right.
I don't know if they might be right on. They might be perfectly exact.
Right.
But something it just feels. I don't know that they count like that.
Is it like the weeks where it's actually a much longer time frame?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like going through this and looking into just the 6 days of creation. With each day, and you look at that and you find the Hebrew word yom,
right?
YOWM, and I guess technically that can mean day.
Right.
It can be age.
Yeah.
It could mean season of light. Mm-hmm. Eon.
Right.
It does have a couple of things. It's hard to put into directly into English, right?
Right.
You're missing some context or idea of what was there.
You mentioned Esau, though, and I don't want to get too far away from Esau before we talk about the pot of beans.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah, he sold his birthright for stew or pot of beans or with lentils. Yeah. Do that. Lentil soup. All right, it was good soup. No, the story is Esau comes back to his brother
Jacob.
Jacob's the younger. There's something else in the Bible that's really weird about that. But Jacob's younger, and basically, and it's a weird thing, right? Because Jacob doesn't have the right to ask that.
Right.
And Esau doesn't have the right, well, I guess maybe he does have the right to give it.
He only has the right to give it in that he can give his attainment of it.
I guess so.
Like,
I guess so.
It can still be repealed by his father, you know?
Yeah, he was so hungry, his brother Jacob, which Jacob kind of is a trickster.
Yeah.
In a weird way.
He's the trickster of this one.
His name means like by the heel because he was the second born. They were twins.
Yeah, they were stripe in the womb.
Yeah, and Esau came out first, and Jacob came out grabbing his heel. They named him Jacob, and it means by the heel or hold on to the heel. Get a headache trying to think of all these things.
The fun part about it is that the way you write his name in Latin means liar, which is perfect for Jacob.
That's kind of funny. That is kind of funny.
That's what he was for a very long time.
Well, he's an interesting character, and I think because he's a little bit of a turd.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
You know,
lies to his father on his deathbed.
Yeah. he's not a good guy.
Yeah. You know why I love Jacob, though?
Yeah.
When he does decide to follow God, the first thing he does is try to make an altar. But he makes an altar the way he's been taught to make an altar. He makes an altar the way that altars were made to idols.
Yeah.
A single stack of stones.
Yeah.
And he prays to God on that altar, and God accepts it.
Yeah.
Because he knows, this is just my reading of it, that Jacob's doing what he thinks he's supposed to be doing.
Well, it makes me think of other stuff like later on, because when you get into towards the end of the Old Testament, I think it's like Nehemiah, where you have I do believe they're in captivity to the Babylon.
Yeah, in Babylon.
The Babylon kingdom was doing really well at that time.
Yeah.
They were the top. They were the top kingdom. You know, at the time they had the biggest empire, with the richest, strongest armies.
Right.
To that they had captured things. They were at Babylon. So through that, Nehemiah.
Yeah, Ezra and Nehemiah came back.
Yeah. I think I'm getting something mixed up with the stories.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah. So, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to move on before I finish that, because I'm not sure I have it right. There's some weird stuff in that.
Yeah.
Like at the end of it, where he tells, like, well, okay, so what do we have to do to get back? Like, well, first of all, you're going to have to get rid of your wife and kids.
Yeah.
And that's it. Thousands come back. Thousands just basically went bye.
Yeah.
It's a messed up story.
Yeah. Only the Hebrews can come back.
Yeah. Melchizedek is a weird character to me.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about him.
There's not. You get. He was the king of Salem.
Yeah.
Have
a good one, Will.
See you later, Will. He was the king of Salem. Had to come back to. He was Abraham
for Armor Core, hopefully.
Right. The came back for more of the. Well, Abraham knew he was above him, and Abraham, like the guy.
Yeah.
Right. Or Abram knew Melchizedek. He became Abraham.
Yeah.
Right. Going through that, the king of Salem, which is another kind of like what is that? What do you mean, king of Salem?
Right.
What exactly does that mean?
Where is that? We still don't know today.
Right. For sure.
Well, and Abram gives him a tithe. Abram brings him a tithe, a tenth of what he's got.
Yeah.
Which is just like, why? Who is this guy?
There's some I don't know, man. There's some really weird stories. Like Abraham marries his sister.
Yeah.
Or his half sister, I guess.
Half sister.
When he gets pressed by that one guy who's got the hots for his wife that he's married to.
Yeah.
Like
Aminadab.
Yeah, I'm not No, we're brother and sister. We're not married.
It's my sister.
There's no reason to kill me so you can have my wife. We're not married.
Yeah.
And then apparently God's not happy with that.
Yeah.
Instead of doing anything to Abram, he gets a guy that took his wife.
Yeah. Threatens him.
And starts having him nightmares and stuff. And he's all ticked off at Abraham.
Yeah.
He's like, what are you doing, dude?
What do you tell me?
Honesty's better in your life.
And then he gives him gold.
I don't know. We don't have many names
Yeah.
through that. I mean, we do of people.
Right.
Like I said, and you get geology, so you get
Oh,
a whole lot
yeah.
of names at one time. But as far as what is, as far as the Old Testament goes, not just Torah, but Old Testament, you get like Baal.
Right.
Is mentioned in the Old Testament. And that's another thing through the reading, and God never has one of his prophets
Right.
say that, that, okay, well, your God's not real.
Right.
It's just, hey, my God's more powerful.
Yeah. Even Elijah is, where is he gone?
Yeah.
Has he gone on a vacation?
Yeah, you're right.
Gone on a journey?
Yeah. I know that. I don't know, man. I think a lot of it does with more modern American Christianity. If you're looking,
Right.
if you're saying that, it kind of does. It's going to seem kind of boring.
Right.
And I think a lot of that is flannelgram, kind of simplifying the stories and stuff.
They don't talk about the cool stuff.
Well, it's a lot of this stuff. I know we're talking about stories and mythical beings and stuff. And yes, a lot of the stories were like, hey, tell your kids, warn them not to go too close to the edge of the ice where the water is.
Yeah.
Things like that. But a lot of these also were, they're not for kids, they're for people.
Right.
They're for their family. They deal with whether it's the Inuit legend to kick you, there's stuff in there. It's like, no, this deals with why you're an adult,
Right.
and the relationship with adults and things that happen in a relationship with adults, So it's not, I don't know, it's kind of this weird, kind of get this weird cleaned up version of it.
Yeah, I agree. Well, that's why I brought up what I did about Jacob earlier, because I think it's really cool that a deity is like, hey, look, I know you're not doing that right, but you don't know you're not doing that right.
Yeah, but there's a few.
So I'm gonna cut you some slack.
Yeah, and there's a few examples in that. That was the Nehemiah thing I was talking about, because I do believe that's where the idea of missing the point
Yeah.
is really big in there. It's like, okay, the laws that you're supposed to follow.
Right.
You miss a part. And then, of course, for Christianity, the New Covenant,
Yeah.
it would be Jesus saying, rend your hearts, not your clothes. You're kind of missing the point of what this is about. It's supposed to be about love.
Right.
Do that. So many of these names are in like, well, y'all had Gundams
Yeah.
earlier.
Yeah.
Names,
Seraphim Gundam. Yeah.
Well, we talked about the Epion.
Yeah.
The Greek, that's from biblical Greek.
Yeah.
Talking about Satan.
The Mabinogi.
Another. The town of Midian.
Yeah.
That's a big thing in Clive Barker's Nightbreed, but then I've also seen that in quite a few others where, it's got some kind of connotation to it.
Right.
To where there's something there you may not want to go there.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Well, even like Sodom and Gomorrah has like held on in culture. Sodom and Gomorrah are both names of creatures in One Piece.
Okay.
That hey, these are these fell creatures, but then you come to find out that hey, they're just horses. Like it's not.
Well, hey,
it's
for horses.
They carry the problem, but they're not the problem themselves, which is exactly what was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah.
Right.
The city itself wasn't the problem; it was the people inside. Okay. So I think that's really interesting that was.
Yeah, well, it's kind of interesting. There's so many characters in this that like just are mentioned. It's like, well, wait, stop, go back.
Right.
Tubal Cain.
Yeah.
Is a big one. It's like, what does he got to do with music? It's got something to do with music.
Right.
The inventor of horns and drums or something like that.
That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
He was the first one to ever write a song. What?
I don't know. It's kind of these strange, just quick mentions.
Right.
Going through.
No, there's so much. We were never going to be able to cover it all in one episode.
Well, we never can.
Right.
I like Scrounger stuff, and I don't know what's going to take up a lot of times. Like we could probably spend 2 hours like looking at Genesis 1:1, the first chapter there, and go and look in the Hebrew and how the Kabbalah look at it and how this look at it. It's just, it goes crazy.
Well, even just telling the story of Moses, we'd have been here 2 hours. You know,
Yeah,
that's a good story.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it's not a short one.
yeah. And I like and Noah and stuff. I find it really interesting because Noah's almost a repeat story of the Babylonian.
Yeah.
I forgot the guy's
Gilgamesh?
name. No, it's not Gilgamesh. But
I keep thinking it's Gilgamesh.
It's in the Epic of
Right,
Gilgamesh.
but it's a different dude.
It's a different dude that survives the
Let me
flood.
pull it up.
Yeah. Well, no, it's a different guy's name. Or maybe it's just his Babylonian name and it was Noah. I don't know.
Flood. What is
There's a
the
little story
dude's
about
name?
Quetzalcoatl first showing up on a boat
Right.
with serpents. This bearded dude shows up with wisdom to rebuild the world.
I found it. Utnapishtim.
Okay, yeah. We'll do that. Also, there's quite a few cities in this. The biggest one I found was like that seemed to hold like the most importance. Looking at the early was
Right.
the kingdom of
Yeah.
Ur.
Ur of the Chaldees.
Right where there's a person that's Er, I think. Mm-hmm. But then there's Ur.
Right.
The city and that I think that's where Abraham was first. And Abraham's got some connotations into it because Abraham goes from polytheistic religion to monotheistic.
Yeah, he converts,
Right.
as it were.
You don't know.
That's cool stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. Not 100% sure where to keep going with it, but I don't know where to start or end because there's
Well, we do still have to ask,
still a lot.
where are we going next week?
Yeah. Go through that.
Chat. Those of you that are still here with us. We
Right.
appreciate everybody that's stuck around and also appreciate everybody that had to go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Appreciate everybody that's going to watch it later on YouTube.
Any input you got?
I do have a recommendation. I
Okay.
have 2 recommendations, but I don't know how chat's going to feel about them. I would love for us to cover a Native American tribe that's not, I mean, we've already technically covered one, but one from southern North America.
Okay.
So that could be
are you talking about like
the Choctaw or
somebody
the
on
Sioux
the plains,
or,
maybe?
yeah,
or a
Cherokee,
Adobe.
the Adobo.
No, I'm thinking about the Pueblo, and there's a couple other tribes that had the Adobe style. But one of the groups, like a Plains Indian or one of those, in the North American above Mexico.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the other recommendation that I had, and we'll see how chat feels about this, and I know how you're going to feel about it, is France.
Look, we already did Arthurian.
That's true. That's true.
Oh. France. Goodness. I don't know. There's some cool stories. They've got, Joan of Arc is obviously a historical accurate that is a female person that lived in France at the time that fought for her country.
Yeah.
That is definitely a person. But there are some myths like around her.
Right.
And the birth and the coming of that nation through that.
Looks like all of chat saying a North American tribe.
All right.
So we should narrow that down, or we can give you a choice. Which would you prefer?
I'll narrow it down. I think I'm going to go with one of the ones that was big in American media, like Cherokee or Comanche.
Okay, yeah.
Like Apache. And I am speaking complete ignorance right now. There's actually, those are breakdown tribes of the other tribes.
Right.
Anyway, all that. And go through that, the plains where where the horse made a difference.
Yeah.
When they got horses, they're like, their knowledge of nature and their respect for animals, gave them, but they knew horses. They learned horses real quick. They could speak horse.
Yeah.
Which is not impossible. I thought it sounds crazy.
Horses are actually really understanding.
Well, when you go, what about if somebody's good with a horse dog or something like that? I mean, obviously a horse can't speak English or speak your language. You have to speak theirs in some form or fashion. Going through that. Then you see them kind of doing weird things with their hands and stuff.
All I'm saying is, I don't have near the connection that a lot of the tribes did and still do with horses.
Yeah.
But when I go patrol the property, whenever the dogs get to barking at night,
Yeah.
Flaxie's with me the whole way.
Yeah.
She comes running to meet me, and then she falls in line behind me along with the dog. And we have us a great time walking around looking for a possum trying to eat the chickens.
Well, you know what? Humanity wouldn't be humanity without dogs and horses.
Yep. I agree.
Cats would have ate us long ago.
Yeah. Connections with the deer. That's different.
That's just the car.
That's different. That is a deep hatred they have for me or me for them, and I'm not sure which one. But Chippewa might be cool. Voyager. There was so much inaccurate Native American stuff.
Imagine
Yeah,
so.
I'm sure.
If you've got the shallowest of understanding, right on that, you can't just say Native American. It's like, okay,
yeah.
well that really
Yeah.
that's it's the same thing as treating Africa as a country.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
No, Europe is a country. No,
Yeah.
it doesn't work
the
like that.
Choctaw and the Sioux and the Cherokee and,
over
the Comanche,
Crows
they're all
over
so
here,
different.
and
Yeah.
you got, right on. No, all good.
No, I think you're fine. I think it's Star Trek Voyager that has
Yeah.
to answer for it.
Yeah. Maybe the idea, yes. Alabama Kashada. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different. I'm good if we're doing Native American. Yeah, I'm finding one tribe.
Okay. Yeah.
And,
go for it.
And going through that. I'm not
You
doing.
pick your poison, my friend.
No, I'm gonna try. Wow, that would be a lot. But yeah, one.
Yeah.
I'm big tribe.
I would just do one if I was you.
Probably one of the plains.
Yeah.
Plains ones. What
I think that'll give us Jackal, so I'm excited for that. The trickster god.
Yeah, maybe.
I love him from Gargoyles. Look, Gargoyles was my first idea for a lot of mythologies.
Yeah.
When they did that world tour,
Yeah.
where they went and met different mythological figures from across the world, that was great.
Yeah. I think it's so strange because sometimes that's done for like almost it's eye rolling.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's done and it's kind of humorous with the ignorance.
Right.
It is forced ignorance.
Yeah.
The ignorance, that they know, and then sometimes it's really kind of interesting.
Yeah.
To see how that sometimes it's done right. One reason why I love Sense8. You need to finish it.
I need to finish it. You're right. I need to finish it.
I don't know.
One Piece is pretty good so far.
Yeah, I'm glad you like it. I'm glad. I'm hoping they understand that people love those stories for a reason. They want that story.
Yeah.
There's
definitely still a lot of big heart moments that are not there, but
yeah.
there's still some cool stuff going. So
Well,
I can let it slide.
It's kind of a lot.
Yeah, it is.
It's kind of a
It
lot
is.
through there. I don't think they're planning to run this TV series for 80 years.
No, and they've condensed 12 episodes into 2 so far. So
Okay.
But
Okay. I'm gonna leave off there.
okay.
I don't know. Like I said, I think this is, especially here in the Western world, it's kind of something that's out there. I don't think. Look, as I said before, I'm a Christian. I don't mind using the term mythology
Bendy.
with this, but I don't think it's seen in that category that
Right.
going along with others
Yeah.
around the world.
Well, I think you're absolutely right in that it's often treated as Sunday school material, and that's all it is. It's like, no, there's actually a lot of heart to these stories. Like, you go read Esther, and you come back, you read Esther and come back and tell me there's not a good story in there about a girl having to stand up and protect her people.
Bendy is a good story.
Just picked a better scene.
Too bad.
That's fair.
I'm good. I'm gonna leave it at that tonight.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that tonight.
We'll be back tomorrow with Armored Core.
Okay, yeah.
Excited for that,
Make a Gundam.
as always.
Make a Gundam.
We'll be back Monday with
Lotro.
Emo Mondays. Lotro.
Lotro. Yeah.
Tuesday with a regular podcast.
Yeah.
At the end of which, I almost said the bottom of which, at the end of which we'll vote for what game you're playing Wednesday because you
Yeah.
beat Bendy.
Beat Bendy.
So we'll see how that goes.
Yes.
And then next Thursday we'll be back with a Native American tribe's mythology. Just
Yeah,
one.
looking at it. Yeah, that's one.
But that means we can always come back and grab some others later.
And it was weird. I know there's going to be giants.
Yeah.
I don't, yeah. There's going to be giants. Try to find some stories and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Hopi would be really cool. They got some.
excited.
Anyway.
There might be giants. Yeah.
There might be giants.
You know, there
Great
might be.
band. Great band. All right.
AC multi. Yeah, we'll give some multiplayer a shot tomorrow. See if we can get some matches, just to give it a try, and then probably start mainlining the story.
Is it cross-platform?
It is not,
Okay.
unfortunately. So I'll only be able to play with people on PC. But I think Remont's on PC, so we might be able to get Remont in for some matches.
Okay.
We'll see how it goes.
Right on, man. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. You can sign us off?
Until next time, I've been Trey,
I've been Rungan.
and this has been the Full Spectrum TTRPG podcast. Remember to always enjoy the full spectrum. The Hebrew mythology, Jewish mythology, has to offer.